Hello and welcome to Bloodsport MMA. Today, with another Blood Talk, we will talk about Darren Till and what is next for him. As most of you know, Darren Till came in the UFC a few years ago as a hot prospect. Most of the people, the UFC and the fans, thought that he will be a champion in the welterweight division in a few years because he came in the UFC as a welterweight. He performed very well, won most of his fights, no, all of his fights, until he then got, in my opinion, a little bit too early, the title shot. He fought against Tyron Woodley for the welterweight title. If you haven't watched the fight, you can rewatch it on YouTube. I think it's on the channel of the UFC. It's a free fight. He lost via decision. It was a very clear fight because Tyron had a big advantage on the ground. Darren Till is more of a striker. You saw it was too early for him. He needed a few more years, getting more well-rounded, stepping his game up, but it happened how it happened. So he then moved up to middleweight, where he did quite a good job. He lost his last two fights before he won against Kelvin Gastelum, but he lost his last two fights. In my opinion, against Robert Whittaker. He lost the decision against Robert Whittaker. It was a very close one. You could give it to both the guys. If you rewatch it, I have rewatched it 2 or 3 times. You can give it to both the guys because they both had the rounds. It was very razor thin, the fight. So if you think about it, Darren Till has a very close decision against Robert Whittaker. And Robert Whittaker has a very close decision against Izzy, the champ. That tells us what? In my opinion, Till can still be the champ in the middleweight division. This division is much better for him. He doesn't have the hard weight cut. His chin is a lot better there. Like, he's never been clipped or knocked down or whatever in the middleweight division, as far as I'm concerned. He was knocked out in the welterweight division because the weight cut affects your chin. It's a fact. So, and the last fight against Derek Brunson, he lost because I really think he wasn't himself. He lost on the ground again. So of course the wrestling and the BJJ is still kind of his weakness, but he's not too bad. It's just his weakness, but it's not too bad. He's also there a world-class athlete. But he still needs to improve some things to be champ. But he can. And he did what most of the fighters won't do. He put his ego away and went to Khamzat Chimaev into Sweden and trained with him. He told him, hey, Khamzat, I'm here. Please take me with you. I want to learn something. Most of the fighters, when they go to other gyms, they're like, I'm just trying to get some different looks, how they train and stuff. But most of them, they don't have the balls, I would say, to say, yeah, you're better than me in this aspect. I have no problem with that. Teach me. I want to get better. I want to get better than you. But I can't get better than you if you don't teach me. But that's what you should do. That brings you forward. And that's very mature to do something like that. That really speaks for Till. If you watch the videos of him and Khamzat Chimaev, in my opinion, the funniest videos ever. I love these two guys together. Two of my favorite fighters. They really found each other. They were similar in the persona and they match up well. So I think Khamzat is a big benefit for Till, and Khamzat can also benefit from the striking of Till because Till is a world-class striker. In my opinion, hate it or love it, he's one of the best Muay Thai fighters we have in the UFC. I talk about pure Muay Thai, not about Taekwondo, Karate style. But even that, you saw the fight against Wonderboy, he won. So they're a great benefit for each other. And Khamzat has superior wrestling, and that's what Till needs, because in England isn't famous for the wrestling. So the training partners he has there are, of course, they are good, but there are better guys. And I think Khamzat is one of these guys. Also, because the push, Khamzat can really push Till. You see, Till, if you watch him the last few interviews and the fights before, he wasn't himself somehow. He seemed a little bit depressed and not in a too good mood and stuff. And since he's with Khamzat, he also told us that himself, that he found his motivation again for the sport and his love for the sport. And he really seems much more happy right now, much more in the zone and focused on his goal, being the champion. So I think that's a key for him. And now to the main question, what is next for him? As I told you, he got a lot better. I think he got a lot better. We haven't seen it yet, but I think he got a lot better in the time with Khamzat and also the time off he had since his last fight. So I think also because he's a big star for UFC, you can't deny it. Next to Israel Adesanya, he's the biggest star in the middleweight division. Prove me wrong. I can see nobody there that has that star power of Till, instead of Adesanya, of course. He should not go back in the rankings and fight lower ranked guys. He should fight higher ranked guys. So who is there? Whittaker and Brunson, he already fought them. Cannonier will most definitely fight for the title next. Although that's a fight I would be really interested in, because Cannonier and Till are very similar in their striking. They like to do fundamental striking, and they do it very good. So that would be a nice chess match. But we have to stay realistic. Cannonier fights for the title next, that's what Dana said. You would also have Marvin Vettori there, of course. He is scheduled to fight Whittaker in summer, so he's away also. Even though that's a matchup that once was scheduled, didn't happen, but it's still a matchup that I would like to see. Because I think Till can beat Vettori. I think he's the better overall fighter, even though Vettori is a stud. You have to see, he can take some punches, definitely. Who also is there? Who makes sense? In my opinion, there are two people who make a lot of sense. First person, Sean Strickland. Sean Strickland is also a very, very interesting fighter. Like, you either love him or hate him. I don't like him too much, but he's entertaining. I love the talking in the cage. And he's a world-class striker. He proved that he can hang in there with everybody. He's up there in the mix, in the title picture. So him against Till would be a nice fight and a big benefit for Till, because if he beats Strickland, he's probably, if you like it or not, he's one fight away from a title, or even maybe gets the title, because he's a big fan favorite. And the UFC wants to make money, of course, and that makes sense. So that would be a nice matchup. I would love to see that fight. It would be very entertaining because there are two very special and funny individuals. Yeah, one of the guys is not always funny, sometimes a little bit creepy, but who cares? That would be a nice fight for the UFC, for the fans, for the division, for everything. Makes a lot of sense to me. And then you also have, in my opinion, the second fight that makes a lot of sense. Paulo Costa. Paulo Costa is still without an officially booked fight. He's a world-class striker. He fought the who's who of the division. He had a close decision to Vettori. Like, he really gave him some hard shots, which other people wouldn't have been able to take, but Vettori has a crazy chin. So Paulo Costa makes also a lot of sense. I would love to see that fight. It will be a banger, I think, because both the guys, good striking. Paulo Costa, very heavy hands, still more the fast guy, I would say, in comparison to Costa. So that would be an amazing fight that I would love to see. And also the trash talk would be so funny because you can't understand both of them. Book it. Why not? There are two very good options, in my opinion. These two. You can also match him up against Hermansson, of course, because Hermansson is also in front of him in the rankings, but that doesn't make a lot of sense for me because Hermansson is... I don't think he will be in the title picture ever. He's a good fighter, but not top of the top. I think Till will beat him. So that fight I wouldn't be too interested in to see, but who knows? It can still happen, of course. That are my two picks, Costa and Strickland. Who do you think he should face next and when? To the when, I can say as soon as he's ready. He still has some small injuries, he said, that he's trying to heal up, and then he's ready to go into the training camp. So I think early summer should be a possibility. June, July maybe. Maybe International Fight Week will make a lot of sense, and I can't wait for it. I love Till fights. I love to watch everything that has something to do with Till because he's such an entertaining individual, and I love people like that. So yeah, let me know in the comments what you think, and make sure to like the video, leave a follow, show some love, and as always, eat your vegetables. Bye bye, Bloodsport out.
Eat your vegetables.